Discussion? Tom?
A citizen of Sierra Vista owes $50,000 as their share of the per capita national debt. The city debt consisting roughly of the current $38 million amortized bond debt, the $12 million estimated pension liability, and the additional proposed $8+ million debt for sewer and the mulch projects is approximately $60 million divided by 40,000 residents equals per capita city debt of $1,500. Now, the proposed budget has what may look like a $400,000 amount for 1 year, but that is only half of the expected revenue we're told will come from the SSVEC franchise agreement increase. So, $800,000 for the proposed 25 years equals a $20 million decision you're ready to make right now. $20 million you can avoid sucking out of the local economy for the next 25 years, starting now during a period of economic decline. Doing otherwise represents the prime example of dumping on the next generation. Byron Schlomack, a PhD at the Goldwater Institute, says if the government won't reduce spending, they'll have to increase taxes to close the gap, and increasing taxes will result in significant job loss. And if anybody comes up with a third alternative to reducing spending or increased taxes, please let me know. When the impact of spending reductions and tax increases are both accounted for, it looks like the surest way to significantly worsen and lengthen recession is to raise taxes. According to Mr. Schlomack's study, $1 in tax cuts results in $1.30 to $3 of job-creating activity after 2 years. A $1 increase in taxes cuts job-creating activity by as much as $3. So, there's not an inverse relationship between economic productivity and tax rates or taxes that should be collected. There's a simple, logical relationship. If there were an economic boom, that would be the time to expect greater tax revenue. If the economy were flat, that might be the time not to raise or lower taxes and expect flat revenue. In my opinion, logic dictates that in time of economic downturn and reduced revenue, that is the time to reduce taxes. Now, I don't happen to have my resolution here handy, but what I have in mind is removing $400,000 from the proposed budget that's for us and not having an increase to the SSVEC taxes presented to the voters. In other words, the ballot measure to go before the voters about the SSVEC franchise would remain the same.
Are you putting that in the form of a motion?
Yes.
So your motion is...
Yes, I will. Let me restate that. I move that we remove the $400,000 placeholder from the budget and do not put an increase on the SSVEC franchise agreement taxes and fees.
Okay. Just for clarification, I'll just mention that the potential increase in fees for SSVEC is an initiative that has to go before the voters, and again, it is included in the budget this year for the same reasons that we mentioned earlier. If in fact it passes, to be able to operate with the monies gained, it has to be in the budget, and likewise, if it does not pass, the money in the budget that's proposed in the budget will not be spent. So that's just a point of clarification. Any discussion, or excuse me, is there a second?
Second for discussion.
Well, you second for?
I'll second it.
Yeah, well, there you go. Okay, so discussion.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, thank you. I have a couple of concerns with some statements that were made. First of all, the numbers that were cited are grossly inaccurate. At the end of our upcoming fiscal year, the total debt projected for the city of Sierra Vista will be $35 million. rather than the number that was cited. Also, you used a population figure of 40,000. Sierra Vista has a population of about 47,000.
45,098 is what the,
Okay,
what the
very,
state tells
very good.
us.
Thank you. So that's one issue. But so let me talk a little bit about debt. Debt is a way to accomplish things up front that otherwise would take years to accomplish. And just like a household mortgage, one could certainly save all of the money that one needs in order to purchase a house free and clear without a mortgage. The problem with that is that it would take much of your existence trying to save that amount of money, and in the meantime, you wouldn't be in a house that for which you have a title. And the other problem is that in the meantime, you have to live somewhere, so you're paying a rent, which decreases your ability to save for the house that you're trying to buy. I did some searching on statistics. The average household, when they want to purchase a home, the nationwide statistic is that that household should spend no more than 28% of their gross income towards the mortgage. And total debt should be no more, the amount that they use to service their total debt should be no more than 36% of their gross household budget. But Sierra Vista, we're not private citizens buying a house. We're actually more like a business. So I did some checking about businesses, and again, the recommendation there is in a way very similar. The recommendation is that a business, which actually frequently uses financing to help them grow and become more productive, the recommendation is that a business should spend no more than 36% of its annual income, so debt to income ratio, should be no more than 36%. The debt servicing in our proposed budget for next year, City of Sierra Vista proposes to spend 7%. Let me say that again, 7% of its annual budget servicing debt. In addition, the three primary nationwide bond rating agencies rate Sierra Vista very high. They rate them in the A categories, which are investment grade. Our three primary nationwide budget or debt rating services say, hey, if you have money that you want to invest, City of Sierra Vista is an industrial grade place to do that. If you manage a retirement fund, whatever, invest in City of Sierra Vista bonds. So, unlike the sky is falling kind of message that some people want to portray, City of Sierra Vista is doing extremely well with its debt. The other point I want to make is that, by and large, we on the City Council are, as elected officials, are elected to make decisions on behalf of the citizens of Sierra Vista. We govern. That's what government means. On the other hand, there are some decisions that I feel really are best left to the citizens that we represent. On the issue of a fee increase, a proposed fee increase for SSVEC, this is one such, and actually we're required to do so, but it's logical to do so. Again, comparing us to a business, we provide services in exchange for receiving payment. I believe it would be important for the citizens of Sierra Vista to be allowed to decide themselves if they are willing to pay for the services, the additional services that we could provide. By disallowing them that opportunity, I think we're doing a great disservice to our constituents. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Crosby.
Yes, indeed. I don't think that the figures that I used were grossly inaccurate. And the reason why I used the population of 40,000, that's in my understanding that the fort has approximately 6,000. How many people are on the fort? Okay. Well, anyway, the people on the fort have a different electricity company. And so this SSVEC franchise does not affect them. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. Then that's a great analogy of the house mortgage, except for one thing, and that it isn't our money. It's other people's money. And there's enough significant differences. I mean, there's vastly large differences between government and a business that I don't think saying that it is analogous to a business is accurate either.
Thank you, Mr. Crosby. Any other comments?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.